Hey everyone, I wanted to go ahead and have a quick discussion topic regarding the introduction of layered weapons being added as part of free title update number 2 into Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And more importantly, I specifically want to talk about the introduction of Lost Code layered weapons. This is something that you most likely missed in the trailer because not only did they kind of like bury it in all the information, this is something that I think is a game changer, but also not necessarily in a good way when it comes to the way Capcom does business and the way they actually treat post-launch DLC as free paid DLC and paid DLC. So there's two things that I want to talk about in this video. The simple introduction of layered weapons now being available for version 12, this is free title update number 2, where they simply confirm that most weapons will have the option for you to be able to do layered weapon for whatever weapon it is that you have equipped. So basically, if you have that weapon unlocked, just kind of like the armors, you're going to be able to spend some sort of type of materials, most likely from the monsters that those weapons are attached to, for you to be able to make a layered version of that weapon and equip it to whatever normal weapon you already have equipped. So everyone who wants to wear Komura Village weapon armor sets is going to be able to do that once again. Maybe even the teddy bear like they showcase in some of the images. Not that big of a surprise. This is something that a lot of people were hoping for, but they decided to finally do it. Well, all well and good. No complaints on my end. However, what they choose to do with this going forward, I think is a little bit more, I don't want to say menacing, but certainly a little bit more interesting. And that is the fact that they're choosing to use this opportunity. And now you should be seeing that on the screen right now. This is the introduction of the Lost Code layered weapons. Now, these weapons are not necessarily anything special. They are just layered options. So you're going to be able to wear these on top of whatever normal weapon you already have. Now, the thing specifically about this is that they are paid DLC. We don't have actual like confirmation of what the price is actually going to be. You're going to be seeing the image on the screen right now where they actually have it on like the store page, but they don't have like, prices for that right now. They do sell the set. We don't necessarily know if they're going to sell them individually. Based on some of the listings that I've seen, it doesn't necessarily seem like that way they're going to do it. So most likely they're going to end up doing the entire set. We don't necessarily know how much is that's going to cost. $3, $4, $5, $6, I would imagine. If they try to charge you for $10 for layered weapons, that is going to be fascinating, because what they're essentially doing here is something that they have been doing already for quite a while. They already sell you hunter layered armor. This is something that we've seen them do for, I believe, since like World or something like that. Maybe Iceborne also kind of like made it more prevalent. But for weapons, they've never done that. Remember, Iceborne, I believe, was the first one that introduced weapon layered options. So just the option for to be able to make your weapon look any different was introduced, I believe, in Iceborne, if not very late in Monster Hunter World. So this was not even available in the 3DS, PSP, days or whatever. This was not available back then. It is now since World and Iceborne. And now they're taking it to another level with the introduction of, weapon layered options specifically for paid DLC. So now you're going to see it. And even in their very own wording, they specifically layered as Lost Code layer weapons 1 type. So if they're putting a number on it, to me it means that Lost Coast layer weapon 2 type, layer 3 type. So that means that most likely color variations or maybe even different visual effects will be added in future versions of this Lost Code weapon set for paid DLC. Now, ultimately, I'm not necessarily against paid DLC. I've discussed this multiple times in previous videos, but I do think the introduction of layered weapon paid DLC for this game signals something of a shift that they have going forward, and that is the fact that more and more of the post-launch, we're just specific post-launch, we're not talking about before leading into the launch of the original game or even the expansion, but just post-launch DLC, which usually has been free in many of the previous games, except with the exception of World and Iceborne, is now shifting more and more into paid DLC. And of course, the better versions of like the post-launch DLC, the better armor sets, the better now layered weapon armors are now turning out to be as paid DLC options, not free DLC quests, which is what people want to see. I'm going to have a separate video where I'm going to be discussing the most recent wave of free event quests that we have coming forward. We'll have a lot of details regarding that. But specifically when it comes to this is something that I think it would have been great if they introduced it as post-launch free event quest or something along those lines as free DLC. But the fact that they're choosing to charge you for a brand new wave of layered weapon options, which is brand new, being introduced for the franchise in general, is something that I'm not necessarily too happy to see as paid DLC. Again, if this was free, I think a lot of people wouldn't even be minding it. They would not be upset. But the fact that they're charging you for it is certainly a little bit of a sticking point. Now, as far as the lost code itself, I did try to read around, especially in Japanese forums and stuff, to see if they actually mean something by this. Is this related to maybe another franchise or something like that? And it just seems to be like a code. It doesn't necessarily, and not like literal lost code like what they're saying in the name, but just like a code name for this weapon type. It doesn't necessarily seem to be connected with anything else as far as I'm aware from what I was able to research. So it seems to be just like a thing. It doesn't really have any, it's a moniker, if you will. It's a title that they're giving it. It doesn't seem to be connected with anything else. Now, does it look cool? Sure. For me specifically, the light bowgun looks atrocious. I wouldn't even wear that. I don't care about that. I'm most likely going to wear, some sort of layered option from the in-game options already. I don't see myself actually buying this, but it's going to be interesting for those who are not necessarily aware, who saw the trailer, saw these things, and they probably thought, hey, that's a cool looking weapon. Am I going to be able to get this? And first and foremost, it's just a layered, so it doesn't have any actual stats. It's just going to be a visual thing. But more importantly, it's paid DLC. And the introduction of it leads to the, I guess, interpretation that in the future, not only are we going to get more of this, which is going to get, a little bit cumbersome if it becomes one of those things where, like, once again, free DLC gives us guild card titles and stickers and stuff that people are not necessarily too happy about. And they keep putting paid DLC for armors and now weapon layered armors as things that, things that people actually want, but they end up charging you money for. That gap seems to be widening the more this game progresses. And once again, I've seen some feedback on this, and people are not too necessarily happy in the way they're choosing to go about it. But that's about all I wanted to talk about specifically in this video. I certainly want to see your guys' feedback. Do let me know. Are you interested in the Lost Code layer weapons armor set? Which one of them do you actually find interesting? I think most of them look good, except the light bowgun and the heavy bowgun. I'm not a fan of that. I think the bow looks good, but I saw a lot of people saying that the bow looked like crap. So I don't necessarily know if this is going to be a popular thing for a lot of people. And with the understanding that it's paid DLC, is it really just going to like drive people away from even wanting to touch it? Since once again, it's paid and it's not something that you can just earn yourself in game for free. But that's about all the information that I have for you guys today. If you are brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.